Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything in between. Alright, that was a long, fun weekend. Back from the beaches of San Diego, well, Mission Beach at least. Saw the fireworks over the harbor last night. Good times. Let's see, so, got quite sunburned. Oh well. It'll heal. And then, so, weekend is over, back for another week, another video, and, more of Sun Tzu. Let's see, so, update, let's see, more videos. We're getting to the appreciations of Sun Tzu and apologies for war sections, and we'll keep this, train wreck moving, and, but the big piece of news, I guess, is through some processes, nothing has been nailed down yet. I'm still at the early stages of this troubled transition thing, but I think kind of changed the name I'll be going with. I've been introducing myself as Danielle. I am now, I think, going to introduce myself as Tanya. So, long story behind that, but I'm liking where it's going. So, here on out, until further notice, I'm Tanya. Alright, so some water, as always. Drink plenty of water when making food yourself. So, alright, purpose of the purpose of these videos, as I've explained in other ones, is just to practice my voice a bit, make a fool of myself, and just slowly build the strength of the muscles and all of that wonderful fun stuff, while reading through that most ancient and serious book, Sun Tzu's The Art of War. And, as always, the text is from Project Gutenberg, your source for all ancient, out-of-copyright texts on ancient warfare. Alright, so we'll get to this tonight, and we're pretty much back with regular videos for, I don't know, foreseeable future, I guess. Alright, so, appreciations or something to see. Okay. Sorry, it's been a couple days since I've done this.
Sun Tzu has exercised the potent fascinations of the minds of China's greatest men. Among the famous generals who are known to have studied his pages with enthusiasm may be mentioned Han Xin, died 196 BC, Feng Ai, died 34 AD, Lu Meng, died 219, and Yo Fei, 1103 to 1141. Depending on Xiao Kong, who disputes with Han Xiang, the highest place in Chinese military annals, has already been recorded. Still more remarkable in one way is the testimony of purely literary men such as Zhou Sun, father of Sun Tzu, who wrote several essays on military topics, all of which owe their chief inspirations to Sun Tzu. The following short passage by him is preserved in the Yu Hai. Sun Wu was saying that in war one cannot make certain of conquering. It is very indeed different from what other books tell us. Wu Jia was a man of the same stamp as Sun Wu, and they both wrote books on war. Then they were linked together in popular speeches on Sun and Wu. But Wu Jia's remarks on war are less weighty. His rules are tough and more crudely stated, and there is not the same unity of plan as in Sun Tzu's work, where the style is terse, with the meaning fully brought out. The following is an extract from the Imperial Judgments in the Garden of Literature by Cheng Wu. Sun Tzu's 13 chapters not only the staple and base of all military men's training, but also compelled the most careful attention of scholars and men of letters. His sayings are terse yet elegant, simple yet profound, perspicuous, and eminently practicable. Such work as Lun Yu and the I Ching and the Great Commentary, as well as the writings of Mencius, Sun Qian, and Yan Chu, are all far below the level of Sun Tzu. Zhou Xi, commenting this, fully admits the first part of the criticism, although he dislikes the audacious comparisons with the man-writing classical works. Language of this sort, he says, encourages a ruler's bent toward unrelenting warfare and reckless militarism. Next section, Apologies for War. Accustomed as we are to think of China as the greatest peace-loving nation on earth, this is rather old text. Anyway, these are comments written by the original translator back in the start of the 20th century. Accustomed as we are to think of China as the greatest peace-loving nation on earth, we are in some danger of forgetting that our experience of war in all its phases has been such as no minor state can parallel. The long military annals stretch back to a point at which they are lost in the mists of time. She had built the Great Wall and was maintaining a huge standing army along a frontier centuries before the first Roman legionary was seen on the Danube. But with the perpetual collisions of the ancient feudal states, the grim conflict with the Huns, Turks, and other invaders after the centralization of government, the terrific upheavals which accustomed the overthrow of so many dynasties, besides the countless rebellions and minor disturbances that have flamed up, flickered out again one by one, it is hardly too much to say that the clash of arms which has never ceased to resound in one portion or another of the empire. No less remarkable is the succession of illustrious captains to whom China can point with pride. As in all countries, the greatest are fond of emerging at the most fateful crisis of her history. Thus, Po Chi stands out conspicuous in the period which she was entering upon her final struggle with the remaining independent states. The stormy years which followed the breakup of the Qin dynasty are illuminated by the transcendent genius of Han Xin. When the House of Han is in turn entitling in its fall, the great and baleful figure of Cao Cao dominates the scene. And in the establishment of the Tang dynasty, one of the mightiest tasks achieved by man, the superhuman legacy of the superhuman energy of Li Shimin, afterwards the Emperor Tianzhen, was seconded by the brilliant strategy of Li Qing. None of these generals need fear comparison with the greatest names of the military history of Europe. In spite of this, the great body of Chinese Senate, from Lo Tzu downwards, and especially as reflected in the standard literature of Confucianism, has been consistently pacific and intensely opposed to militarism in any form. It is such an uncommon thing to find any of the literati defending warfare in principle, but I have thought it worth to collect and examine a few passages in which the unorthodox view is upheld. The following by Sima Qian follows ardent admirations of Confucius. He was yet no advocate of peace at any price. Military weapons are the means used by the sage to punish violence and cruelty, to give peace to troubled times, to remove difficulties and dangers, and to succor those who are in peril. Every animal with blood in its veins and horns on its head will fight when it is attacked. How much more so a man who carries in his breast the faculties of love, hatred, joy, and anger. When he is pleased, a feeling of affection springs up within him. When angry, his poison sting is brought into play. That is the natural law which governs his being. What then shall be said of those scholars who, of our time, blind to all great issues and without any appreciation of relative values, and who can only bark out their stale formulas about virtue and civilization, condemn the use of military weapons? They will surely bring our country to impotence and dishonor, and the loss of her rightful heritage. or who at the very least will bring about invasion or rebellion, sacrifice of territory, and great enfeeblement. Yet they absolutely refuse the position they have taken up, to modify the position they have taken up. The truth is that, just as in the family, the teacher must not spare the rod, and punish which cannot be dispensed with within the state, so military chastisement can never be allowed to fall into abeyance in the empire. All one can say about this power will be exercised widely by some, foolishly by others, and all those who bear arms, some will be loyal and others rebellious. The next piece is taken from Tumo's preface to his commentary on Sun Tzu. Where may be defined as punishment, which is one of the functions of government. It was the profession of Chu Yu and Chan Tzu, both disciples of Confucius. Nowadays, the headings of trials and hearings of litigious litigation, the imprisonment of offenders and their execution by flogging in the marketplace, are all done by officials. But the wielding of huge armies, the throwing down of fortified cities, the hauling of women and children into captivity, and the beheading of traitors, this is also the work done by officials. The objects of the wreck and military weapons are essentially the same. There is no intrinsic difference between the punishment of flogging and cutting off heads in war. For the lesser infractions of law, which are easily dealt with, only a small amount of force needed to be employed, hence the use of military weapons. And hence the use of military weapons and wholesale decapitation. In both cases, however, the end in view is to get rid of wicked people, and to give comfort and relief to the good. Ji Sun asked Jung Yu, saying, "Have you, sir, acquired your military aptitude by study, or is it innate?" Jung Yu replied, "It has been acquired by study." "How can that be so?" said Ji Sun, seeing that you are a disciple of Confucius. "It is a fact," replied Jung Yu. "I was taught by Confucius. It is fitting that the great sage should exercise both civil and military functions, though to be sure, my instructions in the art of fighting have not yet gone very far." Now, who the author was of this rich distinction between the civil and the military, and the limitations of each separate sphere of action, or in what year or what dynasty it was first introduced, is more than I can say. But, at any rate, it has come to crowd the members of the governing class are quite afraid of enlarging on military topics, or do so only in a shamefaced manner. If any are bold enough to discuss the subject, they are at once set down as eccentric intellectuals of coarse and brutal propensities.
Alright, well, that'll do it for today. Again, I'm Tanya. This is another of my videos. Reading from Sun Tzu's The Art of War. I'll be back tomorrow, and as always, good night and good luck.